Okay, now it's time for some Kemetic history. But I'm not about to talk about ancient Kemet. I'm going to be talking about Kemetic history starting in the 1970s. Space is the place. I said, man, let me tell these people about this Kemetic history. Okay, so I figured, let me break down some of the history so it could be recorded and documented. And I'm going to talk about the early Kemetic brothers in America in the 70s, the late 70s, early 80s. I'm 56 years old. I was born in 1958. I changed my name legally to Pharaoh El-Aton in 1979. During them times, one way you show how serious you was about being conscious was getting rid of your slave name and getting rid of it for real, so that if anyone calls you by your name, they'll have to call you by your real name. So to be on the next level, you just couldn't call yourself some African name or some Kemetic name or some Hebrew name. You had to get your name changed so that if you get pulled over by the police or you go to register for some doctor or to vote or whatever, at all times they'll be using your real name. So when they call me, they call me Pharaoh. Now, how I got into Kemet was straight from the ancestors. There used to be a lady in Chicago that had a little African shop. And I guess I was about 18, 19. I went in her store and I looked at the map she had behind her, and I told her, I said, how can I find out where I'm from in Africa? And she looked at me and she said, young man, you could be from wherever you want to be in Africa. So I looked up at the map. At this time, I don't know too much about Africa other than the few things they teach you in the public school. I'm looking at the map, and I say to her, well, you know what? I'm going to be from Egypt. I really knew what I was talking about. That I picked exactly what I am. So time goes by, I end up going to music college, and I met this guy, this brother. His name was P-Tah, P-T-A-H. He was older than me. And he was way out. He used to wear these hats on his head with looked like antennas coming out of it. He was cool, and I stopped going to the music college because I wanted to learn more about being black. And one day I didn't go to work, and I went to the beach, and I seen him again.
I am 72, and I've started off into Egyptology 1967, 68.
So I ran into the brother at the beach out in Chicago. They got a beach called Bongo Beach. They play on the beach. I seen him. Hey, I know you from school. And my brother came out there with some dreadlocks. And I was curious. So I looked at the brother P-Town, and I was like, how he get his hair like that? And he said, yeah, my hair's like that too, brother, up under this headgear I be wearing. He said, yeah, that's how our hair grow. Black people don't even know our hair grow like that. So I wanted to grow me some dreadlocks. So I started growing my dreads, and I started hanging out with the brother. And sure enough, come to find out he was a Egyptian brother. Now back then, they called themselves ancient Egyptian spacemen. So I got to rewind this story. When I was a little boy, I used to take a bus down Michigan. And when I would pass through Michigan, get to 107, every now and then these brothers would get on with this incense smelling, and they had these long sticks, and they had all these wild clothes on with bells, and it looked like Moses or some Hebrews or something. And they used to get off at this place on 107 and go in there. I'll never forget, they had a spaceship hanging in the window. So when I jump back up in the story, I'm talking to my buddy Peter, and he's explaining to me about him and his Egyptian brothers. All these brothers is like, now they would be, 65 to 75 years old. They were some ancient Egyptian brothers, and he was like, yeah, we had a place right there on 107. And that blew my mind, because them was the brothers that I seen on the bus. And I was just a kid when I seen them. But needless to say, I was a head-on, straightforward, ancient Egyptian. And I started growing my dreadlocks. Now, we used to look at all the drawings in the pyramids, and we seen all the people with the dreadlocks, so we knew we was on the right page. And in those days, all the brothers, they was in the Sun Rock. Go to the Sun Rock concerts, and see Brother Sun Rock. We go see Brother Sun Rock. All the ancient Egyptian brothers would be there. The family line I was a part of was called the El-Atons. All these brothers, their last name was El-Aton. So that's how I got the last name, El-Aton. So we El-Atons, a lot of us. We older too. Like I said, I'm 56 and they older than me. They 65 to 75. Some is even 80. But I was a part of the newer, younger group. And most of them that's in their 60s now. At that time, I was in my 20s. So they was in their 30s. Most of them, they had been vegans and vegetarians. So that was the new thing. I mean, you couldn't even call yourself Kemetic or nothing like that if what you eating wasn't, to the highest level. We fasted. A lot of days we'd fast 3, 4, 5 days. Sometimes we fast for 2 weeks. We drink juices. We go out early in the morning when the sun comes. I mean, we was into it heavy. And this was back in the day when you was what you were. So we was real heavy, ancient Egyptian spacemen for real. Wasn't no joke. And it had nothing to do with going and listening to a historian. Now I'm gonna break that down. Back in those days, we wasn't converted from historians or dudes that wrote books. That's not how we became Kemetic gods. We became gods because we was gods anyway. I mean, I seen Dr. I seen Dr. Yosef Ben Jackanen in like 1980. And when he came here, back at that time, brothers like that, they was speaking to like college kids. They was doing tours speaking to college kids, trying to teach them about the history of where they was from, give them some history on ancient culture from Al-Qibla, what they call Africa. But see, we was advanced. We was already Kemetic. So it was like I was already Pharaoh when I went to see Dr. Ben. I was Pharaoh already. I bought his book, he signed it, Pharaoh El-Aton. Pharaoh Ramesses El-Aton. I was always Pharaoh Ramesses. So Dr. Ben and Henry Clark and Chancellor Williams, they didn't make us what we are. We gods for real. As a matter of fact, the conscious community made them more comfortable. you know, they was really enjoying us. Most of the brothers that used to do lectures, they was enjoying coming doing a lecture in Chicago with some conscious people that really lived it would come see their lectures. It was on a higher level. We was there for more knowledge because we already had knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So that's one thing people got to get straight. Like, they didn't make us. Actually, we made them. Actually, we helped condone what they was out telling black people, because they had us for example of people that was living it. We wasn't playing with it. And you know, I eventually left Chicago and I went to California. When I went to California, I was staying with the King's Chamber, some more Kemetic brothers. These brothers been doing it since the late 70s. You know, big shout out to King OG, Amanifu, Jabir, and Amin Ra. Them brothers, they lived over there on Crenshaw and Normandy. No, they lived on Normandy and Jefferson. They lived over there on Normandy and Jefferson, and they had a place called the King's Chamber. If you was a black American with some dreadlocks, you could come. Because at that time, we was like some Kemetic roster brothers. You know, we was Kemetic roster. You know, because we was all checking for Haile Selassie, because we was like, yeah, he got the Triple Crown. That's the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. So we was conscious that, oh, you know, if this brother got the crown, this brother modern day Pharaoh. So we was rocking like that. And the energy was more strong. The energy was strong between the whole conscious community. And guess why? Because of apartheid in South Africa. See, when we was getting into this whole conscious thing in the late 70s, early 80s, we wasn't playing. Because we used to turn on TV and see how they was doing black people in South Africa. So it was a serious thing. The way we used to answer the phone was like space. Space, that was the way we answered the phone. When you called a brother, you hear him say space, you knew it was one of us. Because we was aware that we was from a higher level. We was aware that we brought all this knowledge to the planet. Before man had a pyramid, before man had anything, man used to respect the sun. See, I lived out in Hawaii for a while. I lived outside in the hills. When the sun come up, everything else come up. The sun has always been our greatest gift from the gods. You better know.